Hello, everyone. My name is Tina from Quantum Healing with Tina. I'm a BQH practitioner, spirit releasement therapist, and intuitive empath. And today we're going to talk to Karen about some of our surrogate BQH sessions that we've had that have been really amazing and a great learning experience for us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
A really good learning
So
experience.
our first surrogate session we did was for me. And Karen was the surrogate. So basically, I got to ask my own higher self questions, which was really cool. So tell us how that experience was for you.
Yeah. So in this session, I had decided that I was going to come along for the ride. So meaning like my conscious mind was going to come through because I wanted to give you as much information as I could by remembering or at least seeing things and, taking mental notes of them in case I were to either misinterpret or needed to interpret further what I've seen. So I was present for that. However, keeping, at the same time, like the knowledge that like whatever is to come through, not to analyze it, to just give it as I see it or as I feel it. And yeah, just coming along for the ride, like alongside you, because it was technically for you. And it was really funny because like when we landed at the Angel Clubhouse, that's where we ended up going. You told me to look at myself, and I was blonde. And I remember laughing at that because I'm like, oh, I guess I am you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was really cool. Like it wasn't like I was expecting that, but you know,
Right.
yeah, like so I just like say them as they come, like whether you feel like you're making them up or you're imagining it or because you just want it to be you or whoever you're playing the role for. Like I'm not going to overanalyze it. I'm just going to say it as I see it.
Well, I thought it was really cool because I had the intention of going to my healing temple, the one I've gone to
Mm-hmm.
several times before. So when you landed there, I was like, oh my God, I didn't even tell you I made that intention. And that's where you landed.
Right.
But you were able to see it in much more vivid detail than I ever had been in
That
my trance
was
state.
that was a beautiful place to be because I was even able to feel it and see it and soak it all in and
Mm-hmm.
get like I got so much detail from that because like sometimes there are surrogates or other sessions even for myself where I come out of it and I don't even remember what happened. I only kind of know or I get a kind of glimpses. Well, like if I were to re-listen to the session or watch it, sometimes like something will trigger and I'll be able to remember what I saw at that point. I don't know why that happens. Maybe it's just to stress a certain point or the images are just so popped out, like for me that it catches my attention, like my conscious mind. But yeah, this one I remember it was like I was there. Like I remember even in the feeling of it. You know how we were discussing in the other videos how like what it feels like to be in hypnosis, how sometimes, you just see black and you kind of go with your feeling and this and that. No, this one was really different because it was as if I was there, physically there.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was this beautiful, like, healing temple that we call the Angel Clubhouse. And when you first walked in, you were kind of so overwhelmed by the peacefulness and beauty of the place that you
Hmm.
just stood there for a couple minutes, like soaking it all in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you told me to stay there, which I really loved because,
yeah.
sometimes you just want things to progress quicker. Like that's just the world that we live in, but you really like just soak it all in and it was yeah, like it was just really nice to feel that. And other indications that were there because, we were talking about being in hypnosis, like how to what you feel while you're in it. This one in particular, like I said, I was so in it that I was even able to smell bleach. So I knew it was for you. Like the bleach thing was, it's all you. Like every time I think of bleach or whatever, it's all about you. But yeah, to actually smell it, like I knew, like
Right.
I don't know how that works.
And the angel that was there even validated that for you and said that that was for me, right?
Yes, that's right.
The experience was for me because of the
Yes.
bleach. And the organ was playing my favorite song,
Yeah.
Pachelbel's Canon in D.
Yeah.
And and so this is why you're standing at the kind of the doors when you walk in, and you stood there for a while and you could see the stained glass windows and you could change the colors of them and stuff. And
Yeah, I was
then
able to
the
manipulate it.
angel,
So, yeah.
yeah. And then the angel that was there standing in the back by this like healing pool of water called you to come. And I could feel like you were hesitant to go. And I'm like, go, what are you waiting for? So as you started to walk and you looked back at your footprints and they were like different colors, right? Like vivid
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
colors like of every step were like different colors, and even the music that was playing, I was able to see the melody, like see the actual notes, which I
Mm-hmm.
thought was like, well, I mean, I see things like that anyway in life, but I mean, like to see it there. Excuse, hold on a sec. Yeah, especially like with that music, it was oh so colorful, and it just felt so good to be surrounded by, I don't know, everything beautiful that you could think of. And yeah, no, I loved it. It was just, that
And
was a really cool experience.
you couldn't see the other angels, but you could feel that they were there. Like you could feel kind of things around you. Is that
Yeah, the
right?
presence was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were around, but I couldn't see it. You're right.
Right. Yeah. But the one you did see, and you walked to the healing pool where he was standing, and he asked you to get in. So you went in. And so what happened after that? Then he asked you to go under, right?
Yeah, like he
Under the
was kind of
water.
doing like a bathing thing, like a gradual getting in the pool thing. I think that was specifically for me, not for you. Because since
Right.
I was consciously
Right.
there, he was just like, how about we just cleanse? And I was like, all right. So, and
Yeah.
then eventually, I think gradually, like after you asked me who I was, like, or what I looked like, and I saw that I had blonde hair, I was like, okay, I am her, but I'm experiencing it as me, you
Right.
know? Yeah. So, I mean, like, eventually, I think like this in the water, and I was like,
And I could tell you totally did not want to go under that water.
no, I was like, no, I'm good.
And you're like, no, just pour it on my head. I'm
Yeah,
fine.
I remember that. Exactly. So I mean, like little parts of myself were coming in, but I mean, like, yeah, no, but I was experiencing it. However, some of the reactions or whatever was from my conscious mind being in it, like, or me as my awkward
Right.
self, like, yeah, I'm good, Constantine. Like, so anyway, you're like, no, go, like you're guiding the ship. So I mean, you're like, yeah, why not go under? And I'm like, yeah, why am I hesitating when it's not physically there? But that's how real it was to me. That I
Right.
was just like, no, I'm not going under the water.
And I wanted you to go under because I knew what was under there. Because I've been in that pool before. So when you went under and saw the dolphin, I was so excited because that's the dolphin I've seen before and went swimming with. But you also saw a turtle and you saw it. There was a barrier between you and them because that was there for you too, because I knew you wouldn't like to see those creatures so close up.
Like, yeah, no, it's true. That was there, but I was able to telepathically speak to them. And just that view itself was also extremely magical because it was like a Finding Nemo, but for real. I think I said that even in the
You said
video,
that.
or like in the session. Yeah, like Finding Nemo. And just the colors on the underwater and me being able to breathe under the water. was incredible. And having a conversation and then I ended up channeling the turtle. Like he was just talking through me, which was also like it flew really easily. I don't even think you realized that I was channeling the turtle at one point because it just happened that I was just talking. But yeah, because I was so in it. So yeah, no, I was so in it that, like sometimes like I'm talking to you and then I don't realize that you can't see what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what was happening. So I was just like talking through, I guess, the turtle. But yeah, it was the turtle doing all the
Yeah,
talk.
because you were like that, and I'm like,
Who am
and
I
you said
talking
something,
to?
and I was like, that was the turtle, and you were like, yeah. I'm
I
like,
go,
oh.
did you not see that?
Yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. And he had like the perfect message for me, of course. And it was about, because at that time I was just starting this work and I had a lot of fear about starting. And I feel like a lot of that fear was like old ancestral trauma and trauma from past lifetimes of, being burned for doing work like this or speaking out or whatever that was. And we actually did see a couple lives like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, and it was about the baby turtles and how just be like the baby turtles. The baby turtles don't care if the waves come and knock them back down. It's just they just get back up again and keep going. So that was a really beautiful message from the turtle. And then after that, where did we go after that? Oh, so that whole thing was like a cleanse for both of us, really, in that
Yeah.
pool. It was cleansing. You could feel.
Yeah, because even when I was under the water, I was able to feel the vibration of the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even like getting, we were both getting like infused by I guess the healing notes, from the
Right.
music.
Oh, right, right. Yeah. They
Yeah.
were like doing something with the DNA or something,
Yeah.
upgrading the DNA or, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was really, really beautiful.
That was so colorful. It was well, I mean, apart from the white, the cleanliness and the pristine, setting of it, just everything else was such a huge pop. Like the colors, the most vivid colors you could even think of that were present for that. It was amazing to be in that.
Wow.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's so cool. So then I don't know how, but you started to see or talk about like when I was planning this life or something, right?
Yeah, I think we were on the other side,
I don't think we were
like in the
there yet.
spirit side.
You were still in the water when you started to talk about it, and I said, "Okay, let's go there." To when I was planning to come into this life. So then we went to the spirit side and you saw, tell us what you saw.
What did I see?
The
Was
three
that
guys.
like I'm trying to remember what I saw at that point. Because I mean, like, there was so much that happened in that session that I'm kind of like mixed.
That was the three guides.
Okay, so then your three guides were there. There was Alexa, Don, and what was his name?
Mark.
Marcus. Yeah,
Yeah.
Marcus showed up as, I think he looked like Will Smith at first, like Men in Black style. They were all dressed like Men in Black type thing. And we were like in what appeared to look like a conference room.
Yeah.
We were like an upper level conference room with like beautiful mahogany wood. I remember seeing that wood and like leather seats. And then like on like what's it called? Yeah, like I said, we're on an upper level. And on the lower level it was like a really small type of, not an amphitheater, smaller than an amphitheater type thing. I guess probably what we learned, like where you are going to present your life review.
Mm-hmm.
It's very possible. So anyway, these three guides are there. They're dressed up like Men in Black. One of them looks like Will Smith to me. Um, I think Dawn was the older one that I couldn't tell whether it was a man or a woman. Like she seemed androgynous to me. And then Alexa was the one who looked kind of punk rockish, like had red hair and red eyes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think like they kind of like loosened up after a certain point, and then they morphed into who they really wanted you to see. I think Alexa stayed the same, if I'm
Mm.
not mistaken. But I know Dawn ended up looking like an older lady. Like I started to see more of the feminine in her. And then Marcus, who ended up being Will Smith, ended up looking like the the black gentleman in Night Court, if anyone can remember that. It was him.
Right, because initially they said like this was all about business or something, right? And that's why they
Yeah,
were like up in their suits, and then they're like, no, we can't do this anymore.
right.
So they
So
morphed
yeah,
into who they really were, yeah.
exactly. So they showed me who they really were. So I was sitting like on the other side of the conference table, and on the right side of me was a TV screen, but it wasn't really like a physical TV screen. It was like a suspended one where it was, like those fancy ones that you could imagine like in those sci-fi type
Like a
things.
holographic.
Yeah, a holographic one. And then they kind of like, I think they explained things, which I mean they talked a lot. I think it was Alexa that was pretty much the main speaker for the three. Dawn was very much more like a very quiet but subtle, like she was the one who said that she leaves you signs
Hmm.
around, so every time you see a sign like feathers or whatever the case is, that's her who's planning them for you. Marcus, I think his role for you was, what was he?
He said he was
Like a
always with
like a
me, like,
protector type thing, like a, I
yeah.
don't know, or like a watcher perhaps. I'm not sure exactly what his role. We would have to like go back, but yeah. So they showed me, um, I guess a lot of things. I think, well, from what we understood, like you went to the library to show you a couple of lives. I thought that was really interesting because of how, like, the library was huge. I don't know how you can imagine it, like how I can describe it actually. It was just like, that round staircase that goes around like this, and you just see books everywhere. And I think it was just by thought I could show up or end up being in a particular section, and it would just show up right in front of me. Like, come up and you could pick out the books. And I think later on we put it together, like later on, that this was like where the Akashic records were.
Hmm.
It's just
Yeah.
that we called it a library. That's how I interpreted it because that's what it looked like. Yeah,
Right.
so we were able to look at a couple of lives there, and it was really like a book would come out, would open, and I would see like a little TV screen in it, like a still, and then it would morph into like my vision, and I would be in it. So I was, and then
Pretty
it would,
cool.
it, and then it would move.
That's
So I
so
remember
cool.
one in particular, like where we were in France. I think you were a woman who lived in France, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I saw you in the picture. It was black and white, sitting at like a cafe type table, with the thin chairs and like a little round table with I think you had a cigarette or something. And yeah, so that started, and it just,
Yeah.
explained
And I was a
whatever that
writer.
life was. Yeah.
I was a writer. And then you saw another one where I was like a 60s
Hippie.
feminist, hippie
Yeah, like
feminist.
a revolution type.
Yeah.
Yeah, all for the women. And was there was that wasn't the one where we saw you as a witch? No, that was something else. But yeah, that was later. But yeah, so they showed
We
a couple
saw
of lives.
another, yeah, and then we saw another one. It was like I was along the same lines, so like I was a woman. What was that one? I can't remember now. But before we went to the library, we spoke with Alexis about how Alexa, how I planned to come to this life and why I planned this life.
Oh, yes, you're right. So she was explaining to you how, this was your one and last life. Because you've been such an earthbound soul. You've been here for eons and eons. And I remember them saying that you were even there from the beginning, like I guess when the Cro-Magnon, like the Neanderthals and all those like the development or the, as man was progressing and changing, that you were there as an observer to gather information. So you were there from the beginning, just gathering, right. And then slowly, as everyone was evolving, playing your, role here on Earth. That's why you're so connected to the Earth. And, oh yeah, is that also when we saw your life as a native? Yes. Yes. So, okay. So anyway, yeah, so she was explaining that in this life, because you've had so many lives, now we're in the ascension and you're done. So, I mean, like, usually, like, what we learned was that people, like, when they come and volunteer on Earth, they'll take on a couple of lessons. In your case, of course, you just took on, instead of 1 or 2, you took on like 7 or 8, for example, like something out of this world, because why the hell not, right? Because you can. That was pretty much it. Like, that was the tagline, because you can, because I could. And for you to come here and, go through all your battles, I mean, like, I know your story, like, inside and out. And I mean, like, if I were to put myself in that position, like, I don't even know how I would even want to survive it. To a certain point, you've reached every single issue and you're like, I want to check out because it's too much. But then, you know what? You end up going over it, and what's next? Right. But your whole life has been just obstacle after obstacle, and you've just been jumping over them, all the hurdles throughout. And yeah, that the whole point of that was either, yes, for, soul growth and for you to finally finish, because we learned that you are a guide to these souls, to these young souls that, that you're trying to prove it to them that you can do it. These are the souls that have been, coming on Earth and experiencing, the issues or whatever that they've decided to overcome, but become too overwhelming that they end up taking their lives and having to repeat the same thing. So you're acting as like an example. Right. You're the one who's setting that precedence. Like, no, I'm going to show you that it's possible, to get over all of that and do it in such as graceful way as you have.
Graceful?
I mean, well, no, not graceful, but I mean, like, eventually, like, when you look at the whole thing, like, when you're out of it, you did really great. I mean, like, that's like really good.
Yeah, but graceful is probably not a word I would use to describe myself being in it. Like,
no, not when you're in it, but I mean, like, you did
coming
good.
out of it. I did good coming out of it.
You did really good. I mean, like, when you look at it on the outer parts, yes, of course, they're ugly sections. Like, really ugly sections.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I used the word graceful, but it was really, yeah. I mean, that is an actual good word to use, because look at where you are now and everything that you've done. But I mean, like, using that life as an example of everything that you've decided to put. I mean, like, when you're in it, of course, you're just like, why the hell would I choose that for myself?
Yeah.
Like, that was able, at least it put that, I found in that session, it was able to put your life into perspective of seeing it as an actual soul who was saying, like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to show it to you, because in your life review, after this life is going to be done, you're going to be showing the highlights of this life to all these souls, the young kids that are going to come back here and do better, because you're going to give them those examples. I guess maybe these are the memories that you're going to instill in them of, seeing that spark of hope within them. And I thought that was so important for you to see, at least, that this was not all for nothing, like the suffering that you've endured in this life and how far you've come from it. Yeah, that was amazing to see. Like, but I mean, like, when I went into the library, I felt like all of those books were your lives. Every single one. It wasn't just.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was your library.
Oh, wow.
There was a lot of lives in there. It was
Wow.
huge. It was like, like I don't know if you saw Beauty and the Beast, like the Beast library. It's okay. You don't, I know someone will. Someone knows what I'm talking about. It's a huge library.
Wow.
Humongous. Yes. Or at
Yeah.
least, if not lives, all your experiences.
Yeah.
Every experience has been documented.
Yeah.
This is being documented now in the library. We
Yeah.
have like a BQH like section.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. That's really cool. Um, so what did we do after that? Did we go to the native life after that?
I think that was part of it. I think maybe that was before we even met up with Alexa, because when that life happened, you ended up dying, right? Like being murdered. And I remember being emotional in that scene, because I know in that life, like it was such a, you're so connected to the earth. I felt that connection to it. And the community was so at one with each other. And it makes me reflect on how it is now in today's world, how we are so disconnected. But I felt that connection within, like amongst the people and with the earth as well, which was amazing. And so, like, fast forward in that life, like, there are these men that came to take over the land, and your family was going to be sacrificed because they were going to take the land from you. And I remember that it was kind of like fear. I guess I don't know if it was me that was feeling fear, because it was so emotional to feel that. I remember like kneeling into the ground and the tears like falling into the earth, like as if it was an offering from your soul to the earth. And I remember like my hands, or my, like physically I felt it in my nails, the soil, as I was like digging my hands into the soil as I was like kneeling, knowing that I was going to get shot to my death. Like it was so emotional to feel, and the connection, and just feeling the family, knowing that one of them were dying right next to me, one at a time. It was just crazy. So after that, because it's like heavy, like I'm just feeling it right now.
I know it's
um
making me cry again. But I remember you being on the ground and offering, and the earth taking that fear, and
mhm,
you all had the option of going with these men, but you chose to sacrifice your lives for the land and for the earth so as to not go with them and lose who you were.
mhm,
Yeah. And then we
yeah,
came back to that
yeah,
story like way later in another session, like to
yeah,
see
and
the
we tied it
beginning.
all together. Yeah, like, well, tied it, like it was like a continuation of that life. But after the death, like leaving the body, that's when we led back to the decision of incarnation. So that's how we got out there to meet your guides.
No, we went there first and then went back.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There were several in and out, right? Like I think like
Yeah.
coming back and forth. Okay. I'm not sure on the timeline. I mean, it's been a while that I've heard it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I just like those kind of details. I love for that experience, for me, like to be consciously there, to experience it, and really, I mean, to the point where I physically felt it, like the earth, like that as an example. And to be in the clubhouse and seeing things that you don't usually see in real life
Right.
was incredible,
Right.
both physical and, yeah.
That was an amazing session.
For the
Have you
first
ever
surrogate,
had
yeah.
yeah, have you ever had a session that was that vivid?
No, because after that I decided I wasn't going to do that again.
Mm.
I think because I just wanted to give, at least for the client, to know that I am not, like peace of mind that I am not stepping in. Like I'm not gonna, what do you call it? Like create something,
Alter.
maybe like, yeah, alter it with my own
Right.
conscious mind. So I decided that I'm just going to give a pure, like, just give my body and step
Right.
aside, because like I already experienced it with yours to actually be there, and I don't think anything could beat that. That's why I'm like, I don't want to do that again. Like but I want to give like a really clean, offering to whoever needs it, to
Right.
at least for them to know that I'm not going to be there to to
Right.
either misinterpret or whatever. It's just going to be what it is. Not to say like I was misinterpreting what you saw, but I mean, like, you saw that my conscious mind was present in
Right.
certain points, like certain things were placed for me. But everything that I saw, I had given as I saw it. Like, nothing was created out of my own imagination. Like, I mean, like, to make it look pretty, like, I just gave it as it was. But it's
Nice.
just, of course, the analysis part was there.
Right.
Whereas, for other ones, I check out.
Right.
So there are certain trigger points, like when you do like surrogates or whatever sessions, like when you're putting me in induction, like when you say the home part for me, like that's usually when I choose to go.
Mm.
It's enough for me to be like, okay, bye,
Yeah.
peace out.
So what happened in that session after we went back to the spirit side to talk to the guides again after the native life?
I don't know. It's all jumbled in my mind because like I'm seeing it all in different parts. So I don't
I
know.
remember I remember the feeling you had being me, and your first thing was, I have to go back.
Oh yeah, after you had
Yeah.
passed. That's right. Because your life was taken so abruptly, and it was just like that injustice. Your love for the earth and for your, like, that connection, I feel is what, you know, is strong enough to bring you to where you need to go. When you're so disconnected, of course you don't want to come back. Like, you're just like, no, I'm not doing that again. But because of that love that you felt, for Gaia and for your family or whoever was there, even that forgiveness of whoever took your life, it was just like, no, I need to come back and do it again. Or like, you're so willing,
Yeah. And
which is so
because
not where we're at. Does that mean we're
right.
so disconnected? But I mean, like, it was just so willing. Like,
Yeah.
yes, let me come back. Like, I got to come back and do that again. Or like, when can I come back? It was like an urgency that you wanted to go back out there, talk to your guides and be like, okay, when's my next one? Like, when am I going to come back and do what I need to do and this and that?
Yeah. And that's so funny from like the perspective we have now, like you say, because we're just like, when are we getting out of here, But that's the point of having these sessions, is to realize that we chose this. Like, we chose these lives and these lessons for these specific reasons because we wanted to be here. We knew it wasn't going to be easy, you
I'm like,
know?
I came here for you.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I don't remember what happened after that, after we
But
experienced.
we did body scan.
Did we?
We must have. We do body scan for every single one. So I'm sure we have, to make sure that everything was clear. There wasn't really anything urgent that caught my attention, I don't think.
Hmm. I never actually listened to the rest of that, like past the Angel Clubhouse. I don't think I ever listened to the whole thing. It was a long one. That was like 3 hours, I think.
3 hours?
3 hours.
Damn. Yeah, we've had some really good ones. I mean, that was a really good one, like visually and content wise, like whatever you've been through some stuff.
Yeah.
But it's amazing, like, for me to see everything through your perspective, because like it doesn't match, well, because I mean my process is different as my soul. Like, given
Right.
this is my one and only life, the process is not the same. Well,
Right.
like how I saw it, I experienced it, wasn't the
Right.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, to have so many human lives, like I'm an earthling and you're a starseed. So it's two completely different things, even though before my earth lives, I was from the stars. We all are. But generally, for the
Yeah, you
last
decided to be
thousands of
earthbound.
years, yeah, for the last thousands of years, I decided to be
You
here.
just love it here.
I love it.
You love it so much.
So much.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really do. Like underneath it all. But it's hard. Earth is hard. There's no, especially
That's a
when you
hard
choose,
school, man. I know. This was
especially
like
when
my
you
first
choose,
school.
yeah, and when you choose to take on 7 or 8 lessons just to prove people wrong, like, yeah, it's gonna be hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So,
thank God they give you amnesia, like when you're
right,
fortunate enough to have that amnesia.
right,
Because imagine you carrying all the old lessons too.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose of it. But the drawback of having that amnesia is that we really forget who we are, and we forget that we are these huge, powerful, magnificent beings who have already had all of these lessons and learned all of these things and had this experience. That's the drawback of having it, but it is definitely there for a
But
purpose
it's
because
so worth the waking up. Like once you wake up, oh my God. There's no words for that when you wake up and you remember.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
it's truly magical. And it makes life worth living again, because you
Mm-hmm.
find so much magic and beauty in every single day. Every single day.
I
There's
know. I love
magic.
it.
Yeah. Well, my battery is running out, so we're going to have to talk about the other sessions in separate videos.
No problem. This was a pretty good one. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Is there
yeah.
anything else from that one that you can remember?
Mm, no, but I know that the theme that they had showed me in that one was that you were just all about the truth. You're
Mm,
about revolution, you know, uh, the uprising of the feminine. That
mm-hmm.
was a common theme that I remember feeling.
Yeah.
It was just that independence and stepping
Oh,
into
look, I
that
got my
feminine power.
I got
Oh,
my
see?
women's shirt on. Look at that. And look at your shirt.
Yes,
Yes.
girl. Oh,
Oh my
see?
God. I didn't even plan
Oh,
that.
I
Look at
know.
that
See,
magic.
that's magic. I love that.
That's so magic. Yeah, well, I've always felt that really strongly and deeply. Like, even growing up, like, I hated that my mom, like, waited on the men hand and foot and, like,
I don't
we'd get up from the
understand that.
would get up from the dinner table while she
Oh,
was eating
yeah.
them.
I've never experienced that. Like in my own household, it wasn't that like that. My dad actually, he did the vacuuming, he did the cleaning, he helped us with the dishes. Like he was really like part of it. And then when I married into an Italian family, I see all the women getting up and all the men are sitting, and I'm like, the rebel in me, I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not getting up. And one point I stopped. I'm like, I'm not getting up. This is
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah.
And I would make my ex-husband go get up, and he would be nice enough to do it. But I go, no, there's something wrong here. Like, no. I go, I'm actually the guest in this house. I go, why do I have to get up and freaking pick up after these people? And it makes sense to me. It's like, no, 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 no. This is retro. Like, I can't.
Yeah, from like really young, I felt that in my bones, and I've definitely carried that with me. That and the search for truth, and
Right. There's no like
def
equality. like that search for equality
Yeah.
too. But yeah, I was happy to see something like that, because even for me, it felt very, it didn't resonate at all. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. Like, how does that work? Well, and I remember my ex-mother-in-law telling me at the time, she's like, "Oh, Karen, you know, like, women, you have to know your role." And I'm like, "Know my role? Like, what?"
Yeah, but we did. We tried, right?
Oh,
Like
I did
there
it.
were,
I mean, I did it. I mean, like, not that it didn't make sense to me,
but you
but I'm
right,
like, but I remember making it a point when I gave birth to a boy. I'm like, this boy is not going to be a barbarian. Like, I'm not raising a barbarian.
right.
That was not the goal. No, that's going to end here. And he's going to pick up after himself and do like everyone else. Like, sorry, you're not special just because you're a boy. Like, it doesn't work like that. Not in my world.
Right.
Not in
Yeah.
my one world.
Not my one lifetime. Oh, that's so funny. All right. Well, I think we should end it here. My battery's about to die. It was so nice talking to you all. I hope you enjoyed our video. If you want to book a session or energy healing with Karen, you can find our information down below. We'd be happy to help you. And if you want a surrogate session, Karen would love to stand in for you. She's amazing at it.
Yes. Well, I love doing it. I'm amazing. But yeah, thank
You're
you. Thank you.
amazing.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
You are amazing at it. And yeah, so if you need anything, get in contact with us and let us know. Sending you so much love. Thank you for listening to us. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.